Hey everyone, my name's Travis, and this is the Daily Try. Today we're looking at WTCS Abu Dhabi, and we're going to start with the women's race. Don't forget to subscribe. This was the first race of the WTS calendar, and almost all of the women were there, with Georgia Taylor Brown as the likely favorite, as Flora Duffy and Taylor Knibb hadn't made the start line. And I think the rest of the women were grateful that they weren't there, as they hoped to get some early season points for the leaderboard as well as some extra Olympic qualification points. The swim started off fast as always, but a little bit too fast for Sophie Caldwell, who picked up a penalty for starting a little bit too early. The swim was a 750-meter swim, as unlike the grand final that happened in December, it was a sprint distance race. And Sophie Caldwell ended up utilizing that early start to her advantage, as she came out of the water in first place, taking with her 5 other women, including Beth Potter, who had a phenomenal swim. Who wasn't in that top 6 was, surprisingly, Georgia Taylor Brown, who is actually 31 seconds down at this point. And this ended up being vital for her race, as those front 6 women got away on the bike and managed to stay away, working really well together. And the exact opposite seemed to be happening for the large chase pack that included Georgia Taylor Brown, Cassandra Beaugrand, and some of the other favorites. The amazing swim and the even better bike riding by the top 6 athletes proved to be just too much as they set off on the run. They had a healthy gap coming into transition, and out of transition, it didn't look like anyone would be able to catch him, including Georgia Taylor Brown. Even if she didn't have a lead, Beth Potter was looking like the best runner on the day as she surged up the hills, reminding everybody that she used to be a professional runner and cross-country athlete, as she gapped Sophie Caldwell on the hills and put in a sizable gap to Taylor Spivey, who was having a fantastic race of her own that managed to secure her 3rd place. Sophie Caldwell took 2nd, even though she had a penalty, and she only finished 18 seconds down. A fantastic race for all these women, and it was Cassandra Beaugrand who was the only one who managed to take a spot out of those top 6. Feel free to pause on the list of top 20 results here, and I've gone ahead and made my top 5 notables. I hope you put them down below in the comments as well. Beth Potter, of course, number 1. Does this mean she's really going to challenge for the title this year? Then at number 2, I've got Taylor Spivey, like I said, who's going to be delighted with that podium, as she's had plenty of 4ths in the past. Georgia Taylor Brown ended up finishing way back in 15th place. Definitely must have been an off day for her. At number 4, I've got Lena Minor, who's had a great couple of months recently, and I believe she's one to watch for this year. Katie Severas as well, coming back from just having a child, is already racing at the highest level again, and it's exciting to see her do extremely well with a 37th place. Okay, and we're on to the men's race now, and this field was also stacked with most of the big names there. A couple notables that were missing included Christian Blumenfeld, Morgan Pearson, and Seth Ryder, but you had Hayden Wild and Alex Yee racing each other, as well as a host of incredible French athletes who are going to be fighting for every qualification spot they could get for the Olympics. The swim started out fast and furious, as you could imagine, in a men's sprint distance 750-meter race. It was Vincent Louis who led the way, as he almost always does with his effortless looking stroke, but he was followed closely by his countrymen Dorian Connix and the 2 South Africans Henry Scooban and Jamie Riddle. The men's field was a little more strung out than the women's field, and there wasn't much of a gap to get away on the bike. However, there were some attempts at breakaways, including Leo Berger, who was trying for another trademark breakaway that won him the world title at the end of last year. But nothing would stick, so that meant that this was probably one of the largest ever groups that entered T2 together, and it was coming down to one heck of a 5K run race. 2 notable athletes, however, who wouldn't be challenging for the win in that race included Hayden Wild, who'd had a mechanical issue on the bike, and also Gustav Eden, who just seemed to have an off day, unless he had a mechanical as well. However, his 5K time didn't look too good either, so I wonder if he might have had something that Christian Blumenfeld was struggling with. It was Copeland from Australia who decided to be the early rabbit and see if he could get enough of a gap to hold on to. However, with the likes of Alex Yee chasing you from behind, that was never going to last long. The field rapidly spread out as Alex Yee continued to push the pace before he finally made a decisive move that secured him another win with a 14:26 5K. It was Vasco Velasa in second place and Messias in third, with 4th, 5th, and 6th going to Vincent Louis, Dorian Conix, and Leo Berger. Really nothing between those French athletes. This looked like a brutal season opener, and one that really showed who the best runners are in the field and who's really been working in the off season. Again, I put the results up here for you guys to go through. They're all on triathlon.org if you'd like to look them up, and make sure you follow World Triathlon on YouTube, as I'm sure they'll post the full highlights soon enough. The most notable performances for me on the men's side were, well, Vasco Velasa in second place. A crazy race from him, and he's one to watch for the rest of this year. Vincent Louis was 4th, but he was first out of the Frenchmen, and I bet that gives him a ton of confidence going into the rest of the season. Hayden Wild getting 46th place. That is not good for him on the leaderboards. However, he still had a shockingly good 5K. And then Richard Murray, who I've talked about lots before, on his comeback from all his heart issues, is managed to sneak a 14th place here with a blistering run. And then finally, Gustav Iden, who probably won't take too much confidence from this race, and hopefully the Ironman world champion finds his speed soon enough as the Olympics edge closer every day. Well, that is it for today's race recap. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. As always, all the credit belongs to World Triathlon, and make sure you guys subscribe to their YouTube channel for the full highlights that'll come out soon. And make sure you tune in here tomorrow as I go over Ironman New Zealand that just happened, and what a race that was. If you guys like this channel, please don't forget to like and subscribe, as well as drop in the comments, let me know what I could do better. And I hope to bring you this content throughout the entire year as more and more races happen. So please stay tuned. And if you want to consider supporting the show, you can always head to Buy Me a Coffee, linked in the description below. Thanks guys, have a good night. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye.